Ask Yuri. You've got a health and fitness question? I've got an answer.
Hey guys, I've got one of the lengthiest and most complicated emails to answer for you today, but I'm going to break it down very simply for you. So this question comes from Nick, and I mean, I don't even know where the email is going really, but essentially it was just all about, should I be training body parts versus not? And then should I be doing transition phases and all this kind of like crazy stuff with respect to working out? I was very confused by the email, but I think I've kind of distilled it down to something I can provide benefits to everyone with, which is essentially, when working out, should you be training one muscle at a time or different body parts on some days, like chest and back, chest and buys, right? All that kind of bodybuilder lingo. Or should you be doing something else? Well, as an athlete, I like to consider training movements instead of muscles. Because when you train movements, you train your body as it's supposed to be used, and that's a good thing, right? If you train your biceps only today, you do 3 sets. I'm gonna do 3 exercises, 3 sets of 12 reps. You know, we're gonna do that. We're gonna build our biceps. Then we're gonna do some chest. We're gonna do 3 exercises, 3 sets, 10 reps, whatever it is. Right? I don't know. I'm just being stupid here. That's old school bodybuilding mentality, and there's nothing wrong with that. Believe me. I mean, you'll get great results by doing that. For me, I would rather shoot myself in the head than train like that. For me, that's like, I don't know. It's the worst type of training ever conceived in terms of boredom. And just that's personally my opinion, just because I don't like training like that. So I very rarely ever train like that. So having said that though, I'll give you some examples of my workouts in a second, but I believe that you need to train movements, okay? Because in real life, you're not just doing chest press and bicep curls all day, right? You're twisting, lunging. If you're in sports, you're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And I think the biggest problem nowadays, where we're seeing so many injuries with athletes, is that all these athletes are training like idiots and doing these kind of bodybuilding workouts, and it's not their fault. They don't know any better, right? They're more concerned about the beach body than they are about how they're performing on the field or the ice. So I mean, believe me, I've worked with a lot of athletes, like very high-end soccer players, and I've put together these programs for them. And I remember like some of the most common questions is like, Yuri, is this gonna give me a 6-pack for the summer? I'm like, don't worry about the 6-pack. Okay, worry about what's happening underneath the 6-pack. If your core is strong and stable, you'll be okay. So anyways, train movements, not muscles. When you train movements, you inevitably train a lot of muscles through those ranges of motion. You also train your nervous system to coordinate all that, right? And that's a little bit more applicable to everyday sports. So just going back to my previous question or my previous statements, we're seeing a lot of injuries now because a lot of athletes and people in general are training like this bodybuilding mentality, where I'm going to hit back and tries today, and then I'm never going to train legs and stuff like that. So they create imbalances simply because they're only training very limited ranges of motion or very limited muscle groups, and then they go out and, as an athlete, for instance, they play soccer or play hockey or play basketball, and now they're required to do all sorts of crazy stuff: jump up, get down, lunge, bump into people, balance, stabilize on one leg. All of a sudden they're screwed because they haven't trained their body to accommodate for that. So I like to think of myself, even though I'm finished playing soccer professionally, I still like to consider myself as an athlete because I'm performing every single day in some way, shape, or form. Whether I'm picking up my kids, whether I'm going for a run, whether I'm doing a kettlebell workout, whether I'm sitting at my desk, whether I'm picking up my dogs, taking them for a walk, playing whatever, tennis, do whatever it is, right? We're all performing. And I believe the best way to get in awesome shape, and not necessarily in the bodybuilder shape, because you're not going to get into bodybuilder shape by training movements. You're going to get into bodybuilder shape by training like a bodybuilder. So if you want to do that, then I'd highly recommend you follow my buddy Vince Del Monte, because he's the guy who is going to help you do that. He's a great guy. I love him to death. We have very different training philosophies, but he's awesome. So if you want, he has a great YouTube channel. Just type in Vince Del Monte. He's got awesome stuff for building mass and bodybuilding stuff. If you want to get really fit, lean, muscular, strong, and performance, then what I'm saying here is very important. You need to train movements, not exercises, or not muscle groups. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of my workouts. So yesterday, 2 days ago, and I'll tell you exactly how not to plan your workouts too. 2 days ago I did Romanian deadlifts or stiff-legged deadlifts, so really targeting the back of the legs. So again, it's kind of a targeted exercise, but that's a big movement. So you're getting a lot of the posterior chain. So you're getting a lot of the extension muscles involved. Okay, so anything like jumping related, running, all going to benefit from the stiff-legged deadlift. Work that in with a kettlebell press. Okay, so it was a little jerking press. So we did that for about 4 sets back and forth. Then I did I was holding 2 kettlebells either side here, 20 kilos each. Okay, and then we're doing front squats with the kettlebells. Work that in with chin-ups. Okay, so again, you could think of those as kind of targeted movements, but I'm telling you this, the front squats are killer. Well, probably one of my top 3 exercises of all time. You do front squats with kettlebells, holding up here, keeping your elbows high. Not only are you going to target your legs, but your core is going to be activated like no other exercise can do. If you don't brace your core properly doing a front squat, your spine will literally buckle. Okay, that's how important it is to have a strong core in that exercise. So that was an example of a workout that I did. 4 exercises, 8 sets, total, or I guess 12, whatever it was. And took me about 45 minutes. The next day I had a soccer game, so I was obviously feeling my legs, my hamstrings were a bit tight. Not a great idea. I didn't really feel good on the field at all, so I wouldn't recommend doing that kind of workout the day before a soccer game. Give yourself a couple days recovery. But those are examples. I'll also do like kettlebell swings, kettlebell snatches, so I'm getting that extension plus the shoulder movement plus core stabilization. So there's a lot of stuff going on. You really have to, what it comes down to is identifying what is your main purpose. What is your goal? My goal is not to put on muscle mass and become a bodybuilder. That's not my goal at all. My goal is to be strong, keep my lean mass, maybe put on a pound or 2 here or there, whatever, but I'm not concerned about putting on mass, right? So when I go to the gym, I'm really focusing on, okay, how can I make my body more performant? So the next time I play tennis, I feel better, or I can get more power out of my backhand or my forehand. So I'm always thinking like an athlete. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm saying if you want to emulate similar results to what I have and be an athlete in your own regards, then that's the way to go. And plus, it's probably a little bit safer way to train in terms of preventing injuries down the road. All right, so I know that's a long-winded answer. I don't know if there's really much structure to that, whatever. But I just figured the question was a little bit all over there, so maybe the answer was a little bit all over there as well. So hopefully this last 7 minutes was useful and it wasn't a complete waste of your time, which obviously it's not because you probably learned something. So anyways, join me on Facebook. The URL's down here. Be sure to like my page, ask me your questions there, and I will answer them on an upcoming video at some point. All right, thanks again. Talk to you soon.